What's going on, Clay? Sending out these invites. What's going on, people? What's going on, my family out there? As you all know, I need to periodically go in and invite more people to this live stream. I realized from the first live stream that I did that, when you're filming live, it's a different animal because every single thing that you do from the moment you push that button is being recorded. So the first few minutes is a little bit makeshift, to be honest with you, because I think that physically inviting all these people to your live is ridiculous. So give me one more second. What's going on, y'all? I know that it's kind of, heading into the evening on your Friday. You want to enjoy your Friday. Cordell, what's up? DeMarco, what's up? Denise, what's up? Akil, what's up? Akil, my guy, what's up? Give me a second to simply invite a few more people. Give me one more second, y'all. All right. The interesting thing about sending out invites to a live stream such as this is that you scrolling down your friends list, and if you're me, you're thinking, I want every last one of these people to be invited. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Also, I know that the words on my backdrop, they read backwards, but I like it that way because this allows me to read the comments on my phone. While we're recording. So I know that this is backwards, but I also know that you can probably still read it. www.motivatefosterkids.com is coming soon. It's still in the works. It's in production. We hired several engineers to create a tool. It's going to be more than a website, but the website is definitely a part of it. So www.motivatefosterkids.com is going to be launching in the new year, and I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys will tune into it and see what's going on. D-Mop, what's good, man? Yeah, I hope a lot of people tune in. And if you tune into my live stream, I just want you to know I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I have not forgot anybody. I have not forgotten one of y'all. And it just so happened, we're adults now. We separated, but we're connected by the internet. And that's what makes this thing convenient. But obviously you don't have to tune into this live and see what I'm talking about, but you choose to because you know me and you choose to support what I'm, at least give me a shot to see what I'm talking about. And I really appreciate that, man. So Derek, that's the big homie. I appreciate you coming through also. Big bro Terrence, what's good, man? Yo, I appreciate everybody. We getting ready to get started. We getting ready to get started. I just want to make sure that I'm getting these invites out. And if somebody knows how to send these invites out before you even go live, you know, please let me know about that so that I can start exercising that because I'm really not familiar. Yo. Hey, I really would like to get more of our elders in the building. You know what I'm saying? People that's a little bit older than us. I want everybody in the building. If you know somebody that knows me or know somebody that might be interested in what a young man is talking about, I promise you it's probably not going to be what you think it is. And I'd appreciate a few ears here, you know. And this software, it only shows you a few people that's actually tuned in. So I know it's probably more than 7 people tuned in, but all I can see is 7 people. So that's why I'm encouraging you guys to let people know. Send out a text message or two, let people know, you know, Cedric is going live. Yeah, man. The thing about it is, we're doing this together. This is not me doing it by myself. This is me opening up my journey to my friends and family. I'm starting right here on Facebook. I will be expanding to YouTube and Instagram. But people don't know me on Instagram and YouTube. People know me right here on Facebook, though. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm going live on Facebook for anybody that wonder. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes before I get into the subject matter, though. Feel free to drop a comment, ask a question before, during, or after this stream just to stimulate additional conversation. I have no problem with that. I'm happy to see y'all. The biggest blessing I received in 2019. Let me give that some thought. Biggest blessing I received in 2019. First and foremost, I'd have to say life itself. Just because, not to be too cliche, but you know, one thing that's very eerie to me about being on camera and recording yourself is that the universe itself is watching you. And you have to be beyond careful what you say on camera. That's why I was so slow to come to social media in the first place. But I definitely appreciated life all throughout 2019. Also, my youngest daughter, her name is Ashe Charmaine Riley, was born in the year 2019 on January 18th. But to be a little bit more lame than that and come up with something different, well, I got a job opportunity that's teaching me a lot right now. Right now, I'm a corporate barber, and I go into high volume agencies such as penitentiaries, jails, youth facilities, adolescent homes, and I cut anywhere from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 heads a day. So I cut a lot of hair, and it's teaching me a lot. You know what I mean? Four days out of the week, I'm cutting hair in prisons, and I get to talk to these guys that are in jail, young people in jail for murder, young people in jail for drinking and driving, people in jail for domestic violence, people in jail for a variety of reasons. I get to talk to a diverse group of individuals, white, black, Hispanic, Chinese, foreign, and domestic, just about how they ended up in jail. What are their philosophies on life? How did they get to where they are? And it's interesting because, what's going on, boy? It's interesting because they get to see me, arriving at their premises every week at the exact same time, walking at the exact same time, and cut however many heads that they have in a structured and formatted way. So essentially, I'm almost like a role model for people who are in jail, and they see me as somebody who, oh, this guy, he must have never drank, he must have never smoked, he must have never did anything wrong. He's a complete square. They got the square part right, but they don't know all the experiences that it took for me to be able to square myself the way that I'm square now. And all of those things went into the process, but I'm not at liberty to discuss all of that when I'm in this corporate capacity as a barber. So my biggest blessing of the year 2019 was getting the opportunity to make way more money than I've ever made in the past, to do a lot more work than I've ever done in the past, and to be exposed to a wider diversity of people than I ever have in the past. That would be my greatest blessing in the year 2019. I was in a relationship some time ago, and this is just a quick story. I was doing everything I thought because of, my love for this particular person. And one day I had it up to here, and I was just like, I'm doing all of these things because I love you. And, her mother happened to be there, and she was like, no, you don't do all of this work because you love my daughter. You do all of this work because you're a man. And at that very moment, I realized that a man is not somebody who does what he does because of love for himself or love for other people, almost in a vain sense. But a man is somebody who does work because he's a man. Because I'm a man, I see work that needs to be done in my community, and I'm going to step up to the plate and do it. Because I'm a man, I see work that needs to be done in my family, and I'm going to step up and do it. Because I'm a man, I see work that needs to be done domestically and internationally, and I'm going to take the initiative to do it because I'm a man. Not because I want any special recognition, not because I want somebody to know how much I love them, not because I want somebody in particular to be proud of me, but because I'm a man. And this all goes into the message that I want to share tonight about, what are we doing as men, as far as my personal perspective, but outside of that, what are we doing as women? And then what are we doing together? What are we doing as a family to be accountable and to share initiative? What are we showing our families? What are we showing the community? And then what are we showing the world about who we are? And at what point do we take the initiative to show who we are and to show things and to show the world what we haven't shown the world? You know what I mean? But I don't want to get too far off topic. I was asked the question, what was my greatest goal of the year 2019? I said that my greatest blessing. I said my greatest blessing. One of them was the opportunity to work in a larger capacity than I've ever worked before. Many of you may know I'm a master barber, amongst other things, but my main day-to-day occupation before I speak full-time and run this nonprofit organization full-time is that I'm a master barber. I love cutting hair. It's therapeutic, and I'm fairly good at it. I like to make people look great, and I recently had an opportunity to cut 60 heads a day, 70 heads a day, 80 heads a day. My record so far, y'all, is 80 heads a day. And that's funny because when you're in a regular barbershop, your favorite barber might do 30 or 40 heads in a day. You know what I'm saying? I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I arrive on site at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I usually cut hair from 7 a.m. to about 7:30 p.m. on a daily basis. So that's a blessing to be able to work like that and to learn the lessons that come along with working like that. Connie, what's going on? I'm going to take a second to see if I can invite a few more people. You guys keep dropping the comments. I see Tiffany is in the building. It's happy to see you, Tiffany. Courtney's in the building. Happy to see you too. If you have a comment or a question, drop that because it's going to stimulate the conversation. I got a lot of things to say myself, but if you have something to say in addition to that, I look forward to that. Steve, what's going on, man? Cordell Davis, that's my little brother, y'all. Cordell Davis, how do you handle adversity in a very trying time? I'm always handling adversity, regardless of what time it is, based on what's in me. It's in me to lead through a situation. It's in me to endure. It's in me to go through things, you know. And if anything came close to breaking me in the past, I was able to recover in a way that it won't break me today. So I'm definitely not infallible. I like to believe I'm unbreakable, but humility, the Bible, as far as this conversation, and deeper forms of spirituality have shown me that it's a mistake to say that you're unbreakable in real life. Even though from a spiritual standpoint you can't be broken, but as a human man, you never want to say that that you can do anything and that you can do all things. I think that's problematic. But you know, in real life and in practicality, I believe that I can solve a major issue. I believe I can solve a major problem which I encountered in my life, and it's led me to come up with some really cool creations that I would like to share with the world today, which is one of the reasons why I'm sharing this live stream. Time, what's up, Time? You know, it's looking like we get enough people in the building, but I wanted to have a few elders in the building as well, because I keep seeing these videos of young people beating each other up on the streets, acting erratic, and older people, you know, people in the older generation saying, you know, what's the solution to this? What's going on? How do we stop it? How do we address it? And what I believe is that, you know, we learn most of the things that we learn through media. Most of what we learn it through media. And right now, we don't have enough attractive, influential media that would steer our young people in a different direction. All right? I remember when I was younger, deeply desiring name brand clothing, deeply desiring 2 big square earrings, deeply desiring to be a superstar rapper, and a whole other list of things that really boiled down to nothingness when I got older. You know what I'm saying? And it boils down to possession. When I was younger, I remember liking to see a fight. You know what I'm saying? Liking to see a fight. Liking to see something dramatic happen. I remember thinking that those things were entertaining. I thought that those things were funny and entertaining. Until I got older and realized the irresponsibility that was taking place in the whole matter. So, you know, I think that we all start off being possessed, and all does not apply to every. But, you know, most young people that I meet in real life, they're a lot like me when I was younger. And in the beginning, you're possessed. You're possessed. That's what's happening. A lot of our young people, they're possessed right now. They're possessed by different spirits, different influences, and they're being led to do the wrong thing. And it's not that they're setting out to be purely evil. It's that what we deem evil, because we're sober and because we're mature, these young people, they think it's entertaining. They think it's funny. They think it's funny to take a human life. They think it's funny to body slam somebody on the concrete. They think it's funny when they hop in your car and drive off. So we have to understand the problem that exists clearly. It's not that they say, I'm going to wake up today and be treacherous and horrible. It's not that they wake up and say, I'm going to go be on the news today in the worst way possible. That's not what I saw happening. You know what I'm saying? You know, our young people, they get a kick out of the nonsense that they're doing. And I think it's up to us to share media and create media that's more attractive. There she go. How you doing, Miss Arita? I think it's up to us to create media that's more attractive. For instance, I could be on YouTube watching the latest story about Dame Dash right now. But when I see a headline about this guy named Byron Allen who's suing Comcast, I'm thinking, who is Byron Allen? Why is he suing Comcast? And to see this man discussing billions of dollars and saying that millions of dollars is nothing, I'm thinking, oh, whoa. Byron Allen is way more interesting than the headlines that concerning today's rappers. Scroll a little bit more, you see Dr. Claude Anderson is on the Breakfast Club in New York City. I admit, I gave it a couple days before I clicked on it because I listened to a lot of Dr. Claude Anderson already. But I clicked on that man's interview and the media that he was giving out, way more important, way more attractive than Cameron's new album, Purple Haze 2, which is a good album, by the way. Okay? But this all ties into the journey that I'm already on. And it ties into why I'm doing this live today, which is, why does the Pride Empowerment Network exist? If anybody wants me to zero in on a question or comment, just let me know in the comment box because I'm looking at my phone. Like I said earlier, I know that the backdrop is backwards, but I like my phone this way so that I can read the comments on my phone. I like it that way. All right, but I'm pretty sure y'all see that says motivatefosterkids.com, which is coming soon in the new year. The Pride Empowerment Network is the umbrella there. And so the Pride Empowerment Network, it's about becoming the bank of common sense. It's about creating a database of media that we can use to get through to our communities so that if a young man or a young woman, they're not interested in Cedric's story because they don't want to be a speaker. They didn't grow up in foster care. They're not interested in the things that I'm interested in. But they might listen to a Derek Montgomery. They might listen to a Marcus Young. They might listen to a Cordell Davis. She might listen to Miss Arita Hardy. She might listen to Time. She might listen to Jessica or Annette. So because me speaking in the very beginning was an altruistic thing, it was me wanting to share to my brothers and sisters in the community beyond that no matter what we go through, we can be successful. I want to open it up to a larger platform than myself. That's the reason for my nonprofit. So when people say, how can I help? Here's how you can help. I created a template that I want you to sit down with me to fill out. The template is going to help you to tell your story. Our communities need to hear your stories. Most of you have seen me tell my story. Some of you have seen me tell my story time and time again. And I'm going to continue to tell my story. But what I'm saying here tonight is that we also need you to tell your story. We need each and every last one of you to tell your story. And what I would like to do is I would like to collect that, gather that, and save it for the next young person who comes along who needs media that will be attractive, that will be relative enough, that will be relevant enough to them for them to pay attention to so that they can be steered that much more in the best direction for them. Our young people are missing your stories. I said in my last live, I was asking my grandmother before she passed away to write me a note. And instead of taking that gracefully, writing me a note to pass down to the next generation, she said, what are you talking about? As intelligent as my grandmother was, instead of her saying, okay, I'll write something for you, she said, what are you talking about? And to that end, I've asked several adults near and dear to me to tell me something that I can pass on. And what I realize is that when you put people on the spot to provide what is positive media, not only are they unprepared to do that, but it's almost like you strike the appropriate chord because they get a little bit agitated. But see, where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's exactly what we need to do, is we need to tell our stories. Once you start telling your story, you become free from it. Once you become free from it, not only can you share it with other people, but you can become your higher self. And it's the one thing that we don't like to do is tell our stories. But until we tell our stories will always be doing something to us. Now, if your story is that you had an awesome childhood, you had an awesome upbringing, and now you have an awesome adult life, not only is that great, and there's people out there in the world that need to hear that, okay? But you're more than that. You're more than a great upbringing. For those of us who had a challenging upbringing, there were adversities along the way. Once you tell your story and you tell it in a positive way, it's not about you being a victim of your story. Okay? It's about telling your story and then telling it again and then telling it again and then telling it again until you can tell it in a way that not only uplifts you, but uplifts people around you. I'm willing to bet that the first time you tell your story, it's not going to be entirely positive and it's not going to be entirely helpful. And if your heart is in the right place, because you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, you're not trying to expose anybody, you don't want anybody to feel bad when they call themselves doing a good thing, or maybe they did wrong in your life, but maybe they've healed, they become a better person. You know what I mean? It's not about exposing others when you tell your story. Telling your story, it's about being helpful. It's about being helpful. Marcus in the building. What's going on, Marcus? James, what's up, man? So what I'm saying is that we need every last one in our community to start telling our stories. Once we start telling our stories, we need to have a way to house those stories, to house that media, to be a bank of that media, and then to disseminate that media strategically and effectively so that when a young person is growing up and they need somebody to talk to them, think about how our adults live today, including the way I live today. We spend most of our time at work. I'm sure a lot of us wish we could spend dozens of more hours with our families a week than what we're actually able to do. So it comes down to what media is getting to our child or our family members when we're not. What media is getting to our children and our family members when we're not? What media is getting to our children and our family members when we are not? So my call to action for my people out here is to tell your story. I want you to tell your story with me. What I'm willing to do is write it down for you. Write it down for you in a way that's helpful and uplifting for you and for others. But more importantly, as we're in 2019 in a technological era, be willing to tell your story on film. So that the Pride Empowerment Network, which is this organization here founded by me in its infancy stages, will be able to have your story. Demal, what's going on? We need your stories. Hopefully you see how this is different or significant in addition to everything else that's being said out there. I told my story because my story needed to be told, and that's my first prerogative. But in terms of me being helpful in the community, I have to bring many more stories with me in order to get through to our young people. I have to bring many more stories with me in order to get through to our community. And I know for a fact that our people are growing old and dying without ever sharing their stories. Can I get a 1 or a 2 or a like or a said you right on that? Or if somebody thinks that that's not right or has a contending statement, let me know, because I think I'm in the right vein here. I'm also going to take this time to invite a few more people. All right. All right. So like I was saying, we need to tell our stories. Now, what's the science behind that? The science behind that is, if you tell your story, first of all, you become a free man. So it's a deeper level to all of this. If you don't tell your story will be in control of you for your whole entire life. You have to tell your story in order to gain your real true strength. In order to gain your real truth strength. You can't control your body until you tell your story. You cannot control your body until you tell your story. You ever seen a weightlifter? You ever seen a weightlifter in the gym or on TV? They do a lot of talking, don't they? They talking to themselves. They looking in the mirror. They talking to other people. People talking to them. Speech is a key to strength. And we're not doing enough speaking. And we're being diverted by a lot of media out there saying things like, talk is cheap. It's easier said than done. Let me tell you something. Even the Bible says that in the beginning was the Word. This is not a Christian conversation here, but I'm just showing you how for thousands of years, it's been well understood that the things that we say are critical and vital and important to what happens next. So one of the reasons why the Pride Empowerment Network exists is to harvest stories. I personally believe that there's a whole lot of stories, powerful, potent stories that can come out of the foster care system. I feel like the foster care system is the core and part of the crux of our larger society. Because when you come out of being taken away from your family, going from place to place, starting over, time and time again, in all types of different conditions, into a successful adult or just a productive adult, that life story right there, it can be compelling to somebody else to do the best they can. We got 500,000 people in foster care. You can only imagine, maybe you can't imagine, the nonsense that a lot of these people in foster care is going through. All right? But because I was conscious and aware before I went into foster care, and after being effectively adopted, I'm continuing on this messaging journey of letting you guys know that we have very critical stories, which is very critical media inside of us that we need to share. Media doesn't need to just be BET, MTV, HBO, Stars, and the like. Media also needs to be us sharing our stories, keeping them, housing them, and sharing them. So now fast forward. Let's say you did not have your mother or father, or you had an auntie or an uncle that was a distant relative that was important. Maybe they were well known. And you want to know what that person's philosophy on life was. You want to know what they was all about. You want to know what they talked about, what they thought, what they said. Right now, you have no way of knowing that. Fast forward, we have children. Our children get older. Our children, they go middle school and high school. They start enduring circumstances to where they're going to want to know, what was your narrative in middle school? What was your narrative in high school? What was your narrative after high school? They're going to be able to tell when you just scratching your head whether you making up stories or you digging around, scrounging around for a version of what really happened. Versus being able to pull out actual video of you discussing who you were, how you were, what you thought during those times of your lives. So what I'm saying to you all is that the Pride Empowerment Network is the Sense Depot. When you say, how can I help? You can help by telling your story within the Pride Empowerment Network. You can help by sharing your story with the Pride Empowerment Network. That's what I need. That's what we need. That's what those young people who's fighting at the mall, that's what they need. These young people out here shooting one another, that's what they need. They need to know about their uncle so-and-so. They need to know about their grandfather so-and-so. They need to know about their grandmother. They need to know about their mother. A lot of our people out here, they acting up because they don't know their family. They don't know their family, so they don't know their self. So they think everything is funny. So they think life is a joke. So now they think your life is a joke. People don't know their family, so this is the math. People don't know their family, so they think your life is a joke. Peace to everybody that's coming into the building right now. I appreciate you. I need your comments to keep you in tune with the discussion. All right, because I can keep going, but I want to make sure that I'm interacting with the audience. I want to make sure that we keeping this, that we're piquing everybody's interest here. Because I know when this live stream is over and I look over my notes and I look over the things I've said in the past, that it adds up to a very clear picture and it adds up to a very clear need for what it is that I'm setting out to do. The point that I'm making right now, if you're just now tuning in, is that the young people out here, they need our stories. They need your stories. The people right here in this live, you need to tell your story. Everybody's story is robust, it's big, it's important, it's critical. And it's the one thing that we don't do. You ever met a young man or a young woman who was happy and confident about life, and just in mid-casual conversation, they can start talking to you about their granddad? How their granddad was in the war, how their granddad came home, bought a house, married your grandmother, raised a family. And then how his uncle so-and-so became a mason and built the biggest structures downtown. How his cousin went to the NFL, how his auntie started a church and was the first female pastor in the city. And that's how this young person knows that they're destined to be great. You ever met somebody like that? This is an interactive discussion, y'all. Thumb up the video, share the video, drop a comment in the video, because this entire live stream is nothing without you. I think I'm in a good vein. I think I'm in a correct vein, but without your validation, I'm going to have to continue to be increasingly aggressive about that which I know is true. But if people would just get on board now, I can say, listen, it's not just me who thinks this. It's me and these dozens of people. It's me and these hundreds of people. It's me and these thousands of people called the Pride Empowerment Network, who believe that once we build a database of media, that we can steer our communities, that we can steer young people, and that we can create the changes that you want to see. Whether those changes be political, financial, spiritual, social. No one man is more attractive than gospel music. No one man or woman is more attractive than rap music. No one man or woman is more attractive than the Travel Channel, the Learning Channel, MTV, BET, VH1, E, TMZ. Now one of us is more attractive than that. But if we start sharing our stories, and you in the middle of telling your story, and a young person or anybody for that matter is scrolling through, And you hitting the nail on the head. That's why the Pride Empowerment Network exists. Because if I can listen to Demal talking about how he overcame adversity in his life at a time when I'm going through an adversity in my life, I might not even watch TV tonight. I might sit here and listen to Demal. And then you know what? I'm not going to go to the mall and fight tomorrow. Because now I'm trying to figure out how to tell my story. Because now I got this idea that if I tell my story, maybe I can help myself and maybe I can help somebody else. But if you just go through what you're going through without telling nobody, whether it's good or bad, nobody benefits from who you are and what you are. And that's a problem. That's the number one problem. I'm not going to be before y'all long tonight. I wanted to be clear about why the Pride Empowerment Network exists. What am I setting out to do? And, pretty much where am I going with all of this? I'm building a media network, starting with my story, because if nobody ever comes along and says, you know what, Cedric, I want to get on board with this and add my story, what I'm doing is I'm putting my story out there. So I'm doing it first, but I want you to do it too. That's the point of this live stream. Letting you guys know the Pride Empowerment Network exists to become a database of media that will become a 8-story building. So now I'm giving out intellectual property, which I have no problem with. Because I want this to happen. Whether I do it or we do it, I want it to happen. It needs to happen. I've put years into figuring out a solution. Hey, if you're still watching right now, drop a comment. Let me know that you're still watching because it's looking like people tuning out. And if that's the case, I can get back to doing flashcards with my children. Let me know that you're still here. Let me know what's going on out there. And I'm going to go invite some more people too. So yeah. I want to encourage you to tell your story. I like to be in touch with you personally and help you to tell your story. I want to help you tell your story. Give you a template and a strategy to tell your story. Be the sounding board for your first, second, and third draft. And then I want to represent you to the community as the best version of yourself. That's what I would like to do. In addition to that, I'm working on my first conference right now. The conference is going to be for young adults, adolescents, and parents. I'm going to be rolling out a 57-minute production that I created that's going to be used as a motivational tool, an inspirational tool to kickstart people's motivational journey of telling their stories and hopefully becoming a part of the Pride Empowerment Network, so that we can manifest this vision. The vision I have is on paper, it's multifaceted, but I want to do this in small bits at a time. This live, like I said, this live is about letting you guys know that we have a responsibility to tell our stories. If you don't tell your story, some young person in the next generation is missing out on it, and they need it. More directly, the next generation of people in your family, they're going to need to know who you are. Especially if you think you're insignificant. People in the next generation of your family need to know who you are. Everybody is worthy of telling their story. I'm challenging you to do that. I can help you do that. I want to help you do that. And you have to do that. Tell your story. I hope you tell your story with the Pride Empowerment Network. Because once we become a database of effective media, then we become one of the biggest media platforms in the world. And because this media is not going to be steering anybody in the wrong direction, then we're gonna be pioneering one of the next big things. Please get in touch with me, drop a comment, like the video, thumb up the video, share the video. Stay tuned. Listen, I know you might not want to hear me talk every time I get on this live. You might not like seeing my updates on Facebook all the time. If you drop a like on my comment on Facebook, I appreciate that. Because when a stranger comes along trying to figure out who I am, they look at stuff like that. Is your own public dropping a like on your comments? Is your own public watching your videos? That's what I'm starting here on Facebook. I got a lot more work coming. This is one of the mediums that I'm choosing to let my public know what's going on. And that's where we at with it. Any comments? Anybody got something to say? Let me know. You got the right one, baby. It's a new album out, y'all, right now. This album is hot. I can't get it out of my head, man. I'm a big fan of rap music, if you didn't know. I'm a big fan of jazz also. I'm also a big fan of rock music. Big fan of blues. I'm a fan of R&B. It's not my favorite, though. Unless you drop somebody who's undeniable, like Maxwell. Who else is undeniable in terms of R&B? I'm going to just say Maxwell for now. But anyways, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. I pretty much said what I have to say. Do I have a location? Right now, I'm based out of Philadelphia. I think the world is desensitized today as well. And I think that the world is desensitized because of the media that we take in. The media that you take in, it creates who you are. The media that you take in, it creates who you are. So, when I was much younger, I thought being a man meant being able to take pain. So I used to do things to hurt myself because I thought that I was making myself into a man by causing myself pain. So I agree with you 100% that the world today is desensitized, and that is crazy. Because when you're desensitized, that means you're not listening to your heart. Your heart is your number one structure for continuing who you are in this generation. Your heart pumps your blood. Your blood contains the information of your intellect, which fuels what you think, and then it fuels what you do. You know, my elders used to say, first you think about it, then you do it. That's because of your blood. You do things according to your blood. Which brings me back to why this live stream is happening today. We need to tell our stories so that our family members can understand what's in their blood. We need to tell our stories so that our family members can understand what's in their blood. And let me tell you something. If multiple members of your family tell their story, you'll be all right without your dad. You'll be all right without your mom. You'll be all right with pretty much without any one person in your family if you have your family members telling stories that allow you to understand who you are. I want to take, you know what? I want to take a moment to respect and observe the elders that we have and think about it, y'all. The fact that we got elders, I'm talking people that's 40, 50 and up, 60, 70, 80, and 90. We need their stories. We need their stories. Think about that. We got mad elders out here right now. We need their story. If you're an elder out there today, if you older than me by one day, I'm asking you and I'm imploring you and I'm challenging you to share your story. You never know who needs it. I'm telling you that we all need it. It's not about one person getting handpicked and then somebody make a movie out of their life and then the narrative that gets created out of that movie is what everybody knew about that person. And then in addition to that, you only get that narrative, but that's only one person. Everybody is raised by a multitude of people. If one person's story needs to be told, it's at least 20 other people's stories who need to be told who affected that one person. We are products of other people's stories. Without those stories, we don't understand the product that we are. So wrapping it back around, this is why you got young people out here and adults out here doing whatever they may well please. Because they have no control over who they are. Because they don't have enough information. Some of us are going to lose grandmothers this year. We don't know their story. Some of us are going to lose grandfathers this year. We don't know their story. Some of us are going to lose aunties and uncles this year. We don't know their story. And if you're able to tune into this live stream, you can tell your story. You can break the change. You can change it by sharing your story. So share your story, man. I hope you share with the Pride Empowerment Network. But if you don't, I hope that you are so compelled to at least share your story. Save it. Share it with future generations. That's all I wanted to say tonight. I got plenty more to say in future live streams, future broadcasts on several different platforms. But tonight, I wanted to be clear why I'm creating the Pride Empowerment Network. It's about creating a media database that I can then manifest into an 8-story building, which I can then manifest into a culture, which we can then manifest into a community, so on and so forth. I look forward to you getting to the roundtable discussions with me. I look forward to you becoming a member of the board. I look forward to you seeing exactly what it is that I'm laying out for the people. because it's all written. None of this is freestyle. Let's do the best we can, y'all. Peace.